record. I'm glad I remembered to turn the video on.
For sure.
Would have done the whole show and there would be no record of it.
That'd be great.
You know, Randy, we could put you do the show. Put your video on. You can show us what you look like fishing if you had.
Yeah, let me see this. You got that cat gear on?
Come on. There he is.
The cat camo?
There I am.
Oh, I love that.
Here's
Do
the
that.
lake.
We can say you're out there Sunday morning fishing. That's not bad.
Okay.
We'll live vicariously that way.
It does. Nice. It does.
All right, I love it. Yeah, that's great. All right, stand by, guys. Here we go. All right. Here we go. News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Welcome to 2021. I'm Bob Sokoler, and this is the Louisville Real Estate Show here with you till the top of the hour. And we've got some great folks with us who are coming from a variety of locations. First, Randy Rocky, who's probably doing the best job. He is coming to us from his boat. He's out fishing this Sunday morning. Good morning, Mr. Rocky, over at Swan Financial at 645.
Good morning, Bob.
Yeah, let me give your number out, though. 645-0736. Now, say good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. It's great to see you out and about. And by the way, we'll give you the URL to, if you'd like to see what the show looks like, I'll give you that, how to get here to see it in just a couple minutes. Also here, Kevin Dissler. He is with Pitt and Frank Attorneys. They do a great job. You can choose the attorney you want closing your loan. Yes, you can, in case you didn't know that. You can reach Kevin and his crew at 895-9900. Good morning there, Kevin.
Good morning, all.
Also, backed by popular demand, my son, Greg, who does our photography and marketing and so much more.
Happy New Year.
Yes, indeed, he do.
Something
Happy
like
New
that.
Year. And again, Bob Sokoler, you can reach me anytime. We are desperately looking for homes to list because guess what? We're selling them. Even now, first of the year, we're still as busy as we ever expected to be. More than that. And you can reach me at 376-5483. If you'd like to see a copy of this show, go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's a redirect URL. That'll take you to our YouTube channel where we house all of our past shows, or a lot of them. All right, folks, I sent this out ahead of time because this was kind of shocking this week. This is according to National Association of Realtors report. And, oh, by the way, coming up a little later on in honor of this being the first show of 2021, 14 things to trash without thinking twice about it. Before you move and after you move. Well,
don't think about it. Don't think about it. Just do it.
Just toss it. Here we go. We'll get that to you a little bit later. So this report from the National Association of Realtors, U.S. pending home sales slid for the third consecutive month. Yes, indeed, it went downhill in November, dropping 2.6%. But here's the kind of the caveat here. Year over year, contract signings increased by 16.4%. So let's talk to our pundits here. Why? Anybody want to go first, or should I just pick on somebody?
So the contract signed though,
went up year over year, 16.4%. Right. I can tell you what it is, but I want to see how much attention.
You know me.
Yeah, go ahead, Randy. From his boat.
I think pent up demand is the reason why. I think that a lot of people went on the sidelines for 2 or 3 months, starting when COVID hit. Mid to late March, April, and now I think things are rolling.
Okay, not quite the answer I was looking for, but the three others of us are here watching you cast while you're doing the show. So
we have to ask how the fishing's going. Is it anything biting there?
It is. It's decent. Crappie fishing. I'm crappie fishing this time of year. I do different type of species at different types at different times of the year. So,
folks, it's worth going to see LouisvilleAnswers.com just to see Randy doing this. We'll talk.
It's like one of those channels where you watch a puppy playing a pin. We're just watching Randy fishing real.
Randy fishing.
We're all enamored, I'll tell you, and we're jealous too. Kevin, would you like to jump in?
Yeah, I was going to chime in. I was kind of looking at some data earlier, and I think it just gets back to what you started with. It's just a complete lack of inventory. Mm-hmm. Anything that came up was burned through, and until the vaccines take hold, which I think hopefully by the time we get to spring or late spring, I think people will be comfortable putting their houses on the market, but right now it's just no inventory.
Greg, do you want to chime in on that?
No, I mean, I align with Kevin, and I think inventory, we've always talked about being an issue here. I think it's a slower time of year. I think the election, I think it's not a surprise. You know me, I pick apart statistics. That's why my first question was, well, if you're looking at contract acceptance, well, maybe some of those didn't make it to the table for financing, multiple reasons. If that was up year over year versus just a downslide in the overall peak that we've been seeing. We've had some of the hottest numbers that we've seen ever in this summer, even with COVID. So maybe a natural slide from there, coinciding with inventory and the time of year, I think have all contributing.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing, quite frankly. And then I think Kevin's right on target. Latest monthly decline is largely due to the shortage of inventory and fast rising home prices. That's according to Lawrence Yum, who's the National Association of Realtors chief economist. He is saying it is important to keep in mind that the current sales and prices are far stronger than a year ago. So we expect that to continue into 2021 in this year. So just take note, if you are thinking of selling, we would love to talk to you. You can send me an email or just call me 376-5483. Read about us if you go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. Those are videos, or LouisvilleZillow.com. Those are some of the reviews that myself and our team have received. Mr. Rocky, mortgages are taking longer to close, not necessarily with Swan at all, but there is an average of nearly 2 months to close as lenders face a surge in business spurred on by low mortgage rates and high demand. The average time it took a mortgage to close in November was 55 days. That's according to Ellie Mae's Origination Insight Report. So, Rennie, I have to ask, and I'm not speaking about Swan, but for mortgage lenders in general, is there no way to hire on more staff to get these things closed fast?
Well, they're doing. Everybody's doing that right now, Bob. And what happened? There's 11 trillion in total loan volume in the United States. 8 trillion could be refinanced right now, which is equivalent basically to about 78% could be refinanced and save substantial money. Up to this point right now, 33% of all the people have refinanced with this new refi boom. There's been several of them in the last 6 to 8 years, but this one, they're at 33%. So to answer your question, I mean, there are certain wholesalers that are, and certain lenders, and us included, are trying to increase their staff by 30, 40, 50% right now. It's just hard to find people.
Good people, not just people who are
not.
Well, you're right.
Yeah,
good people.
Qualified.
That is correct.
I spoke to a client.
That's the best way to put it. Yeah.
I spoke to a client last Wednesday who is looking to find a home desperately. She's got a home that's too big for her. She just refied, by the way, through Swan, had a great experience, got a great mortgage rate, but she wants to try to find another home to take advantage of these new homes that will hopefully be coming on the market that she can downsize. And the bigger concern that she had is that every home that she finds interesting sells quickly. And I said, are you able to purchase a home without selling your home? Are you in that income level that you're able to do that? And she said, no. And so I said to her, and you may be getting a call, I said, you may want to talk to Randy about either coming up with what we used to call a bridge loan or something else that would help be able to get you that home without selling your home. Is there anything that's out there that exists right now that would do that, Randy?
Well, I think what we usually do, we approach that with there's so much equity in people's properties now,
Yes,
and so
right.
we approach that for the down payment, just doing a home equity on their current primary residence.
Does that allow her to move forward without a contingency on the sale of her home?
It would, because I don't think there's a debt to income issue, and that would not be a problem at that point. Yes, that is correct.
And so take a lesson, everybody who's listening, who is in a home. Oh, he just caught one.
While giving the advice.
While giving
Fantastic.
advice.
If you caught
There
it.
it goes.
How about that? Randy Rocky giving advice.
And you can see Kevin and I watching.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, folks. I'm telling you, go to LouisvilleAnswers.com.
Good Sunday morning.
Your viewership's going to
Good
go up
Sunday
now.
morning,
Yeah.
as Greg would say.
Let's take that as a
Sunday
good
morning.
sign going into 2021,
Oh,
hopefully.
my
That's right, guys.
That's
Good,
unbelievable. Okay, but anyway, back to our point here. So if you're thinking of buying, you're concerned about the home you're looking to buy selling quickly, you have a home to sell, the seller is going to be more apt to accept a contract that's not contingent on the sale of your home. So you want to get with a lender that you trust. And again, I trust Randy Rocky. See about equity, see what how much your home is worth. We can do that for you. In fact, this woman who I was talking to, I gave her kind of an estimate of what we thought the house would go for, which was much higher than she ever thought even possible. So again, there are things you need to do. If not me, talk to a realtor, talk to a lender, get a plan in play now here at the beginning of 2021. All right,
There was one question.
Yeah.
Well, there's one question since you sent out. I was going to ask our expert fisherman there, his other expertise in mortgage lending. But you were talking about, well, what's causing this delay in getting to the closing table? And I wanted to ask Randy, we're hearing from people, if you have W-2 income, fairly easy to get a loan, refi, you go right through. If you're self-employed, everything is delayed, 5 years of financial statements. It's extremely difficult to do. And the question is that's what causing some of the delays by averages? If you are self-employed, it's much more difficult. You see, between casting.
Well, and that is a great point, Kevin. What we have done on that, very well said. You have to have a P&L from a CPA this year. Usually, as you well know, you do last year's tax returns. And that's it. Your last two tax returns on self-employed borrowers. What you're having to do now is you're having to have your last 2 months bank statements showing your gross income has not decreased from this time last year, or get a P&L from your accountant on in 2020, because they are afraid there are so many people that have their businesses have suffered, which they have from COVID. So that is so what we are doing. We're getting all that done on the front end before they actually have a contract.
So two of us,
and then what we're having to do is update after that. So yes, that is definitely been a problem, and I don't think a lot of lenders are being as proactive as we are in that scenario.
and two of us on this call, myself and Greg, just went through financing with Swan, and typically we're pretty much self-employed. So yeah, I would tell you Randy's right on it, and that's a great question, Kevin.
But that was also one of the reasons we didn't have bumps in the road, was because Randy has prepared. And I think the only thing, underwriters will come back with little things. And I think we both had to do it, writing about how our business, our personal LLCs were, going to be solvent in the future through COVID, and doing little extra things to jump through hoops to make sure you're good.
Moving on, before we take the break, New York eviction ban includes help for small landlords. It's the small landlords and renters who have been having trouble. So they've done some legal work in New York. Anything, I know you've been following this, Kevin, here locally. Is there anything to help with relief? I know we've got the tax, the new rebate or money that's coming out to a lot of people, but not necessarily for landlords or to help directly with evictions.
Well, it's a 5,000-page bill at last look, and people are going to kind of go through it, but there's supposed to be some help and assistance for landlords, and also we're hoping that the money when it's out, maybe some of the folks can use it to stay in. And just kind of a reminder, most of the landlords in this town are small mom and pops too. If they don't receive the rent, they're going to be behind in foreclosure on their mortgage. So it's a definite problem. Hopefully this bill will give a little bit of relief to the local area, but and I believe the eviction courts are on. I think they're off again, but we'll have to check on that.
Also, high-priced loans are now apparently more likely to be in forbearance, according to a new study. There are about 2.8 million homeowners that are in forbearance due to the COVID-19 pandemic. and they're saying that the higher priced loans are the ones that folks are having problems with. I guess it's kind of obvious. Randy, Kevin, have you heard anything or seen anything with reports with regards to that at all?
I think it has to happen. I mean, I understand they are giving them forbearance, but
yeah,
a lot of these investors, got in the game in the last 2 or 3 years. I know it's all cyclical on that, but there's got to be some people leveraged because they're not getting the rent payments. And I understand the issues.
Business.
Yes, their income from their business. I mean, there's just there's a lot going on there. To answer your question, I've not seen the foreclosure problems at this point.
Well, that's because they're kicking the can down the road still, proverbially, right? I mean, there's an eviction moratorium now until January 31st. We'll see how far that gets kicked down the can. I mean, guys, remember, not trying to take a bad tone to 2021, but this time last year, a little bit before, a little lighter, we were talking about 2 weeks of this, a month. How's it going to affect us in 6 months? Now we're talking a year. What are the effects going to be in another 6 months? We have no idea, Yeah,
but the reports are that anybody who does go, unfortunately, into foreclosure, the market, because of the need for homes, will sweep those up very quickly. So I don't think we're going to have a sell problem on that. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, 14 things to trash without even thinking twice here in 2021. With us from his boat, catching fish on the fly with us, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. You could reach him at 645-0736. Also, our buddy Kevin Dissler, Pitt and Frank Attorneys. You can pick the closing attorney you want to use, and Pitt and Frank are the best out there. You can reach Kevin and his team at 895-9900. My son Greg always does a great job, and you can reach me, Bob Sokoler, anytime on my cell phone, 502-376-5483. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. Greg, try to get your microphone a little closer to you, and also Kev, just a little closer as well, because you've got a lot of echo in there. Okay, here we go. News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning again. We are back till the top of the hour. I'm Bob Sokoler with the rest of the Louisville Real Estate Show. With us, Kevin Dissler, Pitt and Frank Attorneys, 895-9900. Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, 645-0736. My son Greg, who does our marketing, photography, and so much more. And myself, Bob Sokoler. You can reach me anytime, 376-5483. And thanks to my mentor and friend, Barbara Corcoran, who you can see on a regular basis on Shark Tank. I keep hearing this little whining noise. Randy, is that your boat making that?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my spot lock on my trolling motor.
I was wondering. That's okay. I was wondering. Oh, he keeps it in lock. Okay, that's what it was. That's okay.
It keeps it in lock. It's a GPS system.
Yeah, I would love it.
Out in the middle of nowhere, and it keeps you right on the spot.
We wouldn't want you drifting, that's for sure. All right. 14 things, folks, to trash without thinking twice in 2021, before you move and even after you move, if you didn't have a chance before. Magazine and newspaper clippings, without a question. Yeah, you might.
This is 1945?
No, you might have. There are people who still subscribe to the paper, so you got a lot of them.
This is like growing up with Bob clipping coupons in the morning when I was 9 years old.
Yeah, you got it, buddy. Also, I got that from my dad. Also, unused hardware and extra parts. My drawers are filled with those and continue, even though I throw it out. Shopping bags. How many of us, and you could probably, maybe with COVID you can't. I was thinking you could return the shopping bags for them to reuse. I'm not so sure they're going to take, anybody's taking those back.
Recycle.
Instruction manuals. How many of us may get those instruction manuals, but we don't even read them? Do any of us guys read these instruction manuals? Randy's going to unmute himself to tell us. Yes. On his GPS tracker.
My wife reads the instruction manuals.
Of course she does.
To answer your question.
Tracy would do that.
She takes care of that.
Yeah. Plastic containers, throw them out. Old clothes. Get rid of old clothes. Again, you're paring down if you're going to move. Why move the stuff and then have to do it later? Grubby grooming supplies. I actually have a lot of those. A lot of them for hair, which I don't have a whole lot of these days. Gifts that missed the mark. Toss them. Broken furniture. Get it out. Outdated electronics. And Greg, don't you say it, because Greg's going to.
I was getting ready to pick. I was going to warn everybody at the beginning of this segment that I couldn't pick Bob apart, but I'm just letting him go at this point.
I've got a shelves worth of outdated electronics. Financial papers that you don't need. Kevin, what's the legal requirement? Is it 7 years? Do you know, for taxes? And
Typically, it's 7 years, but like with the IRS, I guess if they prove fraud, they can go back beyond that. But most CPAs say 7. For us, it's 7. But I would remind everyone, and with digital fraud that's abound, always keep your original deeds. Always keep them in a safe place.
That's a good point. Expired medicine and food. And my friend Michelle went through my closets and refrigerators and threw out a lot of food because it was beyond the expiration date. So, oh well. Old crafts and DIY supplies, and then single-use kitchen tools like the salad shooter that may have seemed great by it sometime, but you never use it. Why move it? Why pay to have somebody?
So I said, don't think twice about it, Bob. Don't try to repurpose it.
Get rid of it. All right, moving forward. Before we go any further, there's a new report on quick things. I saw this on the wire. I said, I really want to bring this up in the time that we've got left, just very quickly. 4 disinfection tips that may surprise you. Before you disinfect with COVID still around, and it will be for a while, clean. You want a disinfectant will not work on a surface that is not cleaned first. Viruses and bacteria can hide in organic material and dirt lingering on your home or boat's surface. I said that for Randy.
Boat.
Don't use bleach in a spray bottle. Avoid combining bleach with anything, including a spray bottle. Apartment Therapy warns, this is a group that put out this report, it can react with metal parts of the trigger spray nozzle. It could cause rust and influence its effectiveness, the effectiveness of the bleach. 70% rubbing alcohol disinfects better than 91%. I did not know this. Don't assume that higher percentages of alcohol are more effective to kill the virus. 90% or higher alcohol solution can actually be too powerful in some scenarios. And finally, don't wipe away disinfectant too quickly after applying it. Disinfectant solutions need to remain on a surface for a specified length of time, and that can vary depending upon the product. For example, a surface treated with Clorox wipes needs to remain visibly wet for 4 minutes before it's wiped away in order to work. So check the bottle.
Get out of town.
No, true. And which many of us, including myself, we've got the dispensers for the goo that you put on your hands to clean them or to disinfect them. Yeah. Just note that when I do it, I'm letting it dry on my hands. I'm not wiping it off. I'm not, just let it dry naturally so it kills any potential virus COVID problem. All right. We're going back to now questions that are coming in via email. If you have a question, whatever it might be, legal, mortgage, repairs, send me an email, bob@WeSellLouisville.com, and I will put it on the air during our shows. With our COVID shows, we're doing this via Zoom, these shows. Subsequently, we don't have the ability to roll in the questions via the phone. We just don't have that technology, at least not at my house or my office. This is coming from Billy. He says, I've got a problem with the house he just sold, Kevin. On the disclosure, Billy wrote that the old roof leaked and it was repaired last year. They closed 3 months ago, and the buyer is now threatening Billy with a lawsuit saying he misrepresented the problems of the roof. So he said it was repaired last year. The buyer saying, I don't think so. What does he have a problem? What can he do to keep from this going further?
Well, the fact that he did state that there was an issue with the roof, and the question is whether that disclosure was sufficient. You can say I have a small leak when in fact you know that the entire roof is failing. Also, I'm assuming that if he got a competent roofer to diagnose it and also to do a competent repair with the warranty, should be okay. For that type of a case to prevail, it almost has to be that you had knowledge of the complete failure of the roof. You just try to patch a few areas knowing that it would be insufficient, and you used Bob, who does windows or fishes, to do the repair rather than a licensed, insured roofing company. So for the most part, he just needs to go through all of his documentation and just say, hey, I called a particular roofing company, good reputation. They came out. I'm not a roofer. They diagnosed it. Here's the paperwork. I paid them. He should be okay.
So in a worst case scenario, if he cannot remember or can't find the paperwork and he cannot remember the name of the roofing company, I guess he can, you go back to your credit card bills or your checks and go through that.
Closing attorneys, any repairs, any receipts, anything that might be on file.
And,
yeah, I mean, if you, in your all's files, you tend to document it fairly well. If there's a repair request made, you'll require receipts. You want to get the information from the roofing company. So usually if you kind of go out to if realtors or professional realtors are involved, usually that's a good source for that information too. And like I said, those cases are very hard to make. People do engage in fraud, but they're very hard cases to make.
If there are problems and you need to get representation, Kevin, you do real estate, and the rest of our attorneys on our show do real estate closings. You would not be one that would necessarily be the one to contact. You'd have to refer that to somebody who does that type of litigation.
We're transactional attorneys, and so we have a lot of conflicts because we work with all the guys in the industry and gals so much. So, but we do have affiliated attorneys that we know are very competent in that area that we refer these type of cases to. And, we make sure that we will not refer you to someone unless we think that they're very good at what they do. And we have one gentleman affiliated with us that does those type of adversarial, whether it goes to the courthouse or not, it's adversarial. We really can't do that because we do tend to work with all the parties to get them to the closing table. This fishing is fascinating and somewhat peaceful, by the way.
While we're watching, Randy, we should have him do this every Sunday morning. So just looking towards the future for 2021, one prediction from all of you. Randy, get ready to unmute your mic because we want to hear it from you as well. The home sales rose nearly 26% in 2020 when compared to 2019, the year before. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we don't have crystal balls. But going around the table here, Greg, we'll start with you. What do you expect home sales to do this year? Again, no crystal ball, but take a guess.
The soothsayer. I'm going to say they're going to remain mellow. I think we're going to see more turbulence. I think we're going to see more uncertainty. I think we'll see a good spike in the months where we usually see spikes. But I think just steady.
All right. Kevin, how about you? Where are you thinking?
I'm just thinking that the problem is on the supply side. Everything that you read, it says that affordable housing, as these prices this year, which we haven't discussed, but have just gone up so much that the affordability is a big issue. And you see all across town, new apartment complexes going up, and they're filled because how many people are out there building, say, 200,000 or less new construction? There really aren't any. And so you got people that want a product that they can't find. So I think it's going to be a little muted.
Randy Rocky, thoughts? If you got a second between.
Well, I look at it. I think it's going to be a very strong year. So I'm kind of on the other side of that. I think because rates will stay low, and I think some people are going to be able to be in a position where they can go from a $200,000 house to a $350,000 house. And I think there's going to be a lot of people sell and move up this year.
All right. And finally, with me, quickly, I expect the first half of 2021 to be very hot, but the last half of 2021, say June forward, it's going to be on fire. And that's because the vaccine gets rolled out, people relax, now decide it's time to move, and things go crazy. Okay, we are out of time for today's show. Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, from his boat on a Sunday morning. It's 645-0736. Kevin Dissler, Pitt and Frank Attorneys, 895-9900. Thank you both. My son Greg, who does our marketing and pictures and so much more. Thank you, sir, for being here. Sure. And you can reach me anytime, day or night, because we definitely are in need of finding homes to list and sell. You can reach me on my cell phone anytime at 376-5483. We're out of time. See you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.
And now if you join us for the conspiracy theory portion of our show.
What's the conspiracy?
No, I'm watching MSNBC. I'm watching the Nashville bombing stuff.
Oh,
and the lack thereof of leaders taking some sort of stance. Any leader?
Are you a Seinfeld fan? Any of you?
I am. Yeah.
The fact that he was blaring the music to Downtown.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, that's just. I'm assuming the guy's nuts, but that whole Downtown Fringe will just make you think. Okay, from a conspiracy theory, does that have some hidden meaning? You know?
Well,
no, I agree.
Well, no, what's going on is it was the AT&T building, right? So you notice there was a big AT&T outage. So there's supposedly NSA and CIA supercomputers that are in this building.
Oh, okay.
And there's a whole go run with it from there.
Or the other aspect is he was an alien hunter. Oh. So that there's all types of.
Wait a second. This is amazing. In the new bill that just passed, supposedly, and you can look this up, and there's a New York Post article on this. The government now has 180 days to disclose any UFO activity documentation that they have. This is like hidden in this article.
Did you all realize that in the popular media about a week and a half ago, the head of the Israeli defense?
Yes, I mentioned this.
And you look at him when he's doing the video. Okay, either he's like 84 or something. Either he is an absolute lunatic that can speak well like all of us, or else it's like everybody knows about it. The Israelis do. Trump knows. The aliens told Trump not to disclose it just yet. And it's going like, okay, this guy was like in charge of Israeli security for 30 years. He can't be a wingnut, right?
Not just Israeli security, like Israeli Air Force, who would know?
Yeah, that job you don't get because your grandfather was a general,
right.
And nor can you keep it if you're nuts. But it's like, is this all coming together and we're going to have the aliens?
2021, baby.
You never
boy,
know,
that's what I'm
boys and
saying.
girls. No, you never know.
Trump on his way out. Okay, by the way.
Oh, and by the way, yes, we have been visited. And in fact, who knows?
They're living among us.
Yeah.
And the mob killed Kennedy. We all know that anyway, so we just want to confirm that.
Well, no, there's a really great podcast about that. It's a 5-part episode. I've been trying to tell Bob. It's called Death is Just Around the Corner. And it's all about how the CIA and the mob killed Kennedy. And they break it down, man. They're like, there was 2 shooters, one on the grassy knoll. The depository was set up. I mean, the whole thing is fascinating. And like the people that were on the ground that day and all the mob members and it's like, they're basically like, there is no other.
I think on January 19th, he just needs to release all the files and let us all have a great 2021.
Watch that happen, huh? All right, guys. Thank you. Randy, thanks for doing this from the boat. That was
thank you.
It was fun. All right, Kevin.
Have a great day.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Love you.
All right.
Bye-bye.